Back for what is maybe the final part of Case 1. I don't know if it will be or not. Yeah. I'm interested to see how Shutakumi has managed to put a bow on this otherwise fantastic first case. I feel like there's going to be something still yet to surprise me. We'll see. Music on, thank you. And let me check the balance with the audio. It seems fine. No, I'll be generous and a little bit. Hopefully that doesn't drown out my voice. Cool. This is just after the last stream. I'm gonna load straight back in. Trial part 3. Also, YouTube chat is a thing, by the way. That's fun. I wonder if YouTube chat will still exist on the mod 30 years time. Will YouTube still exist in 30 years time? Who knows? Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why this sudden ingress into my courtroom?
Ah, a judicial assistant, and a woman no less. The rules state that females are not permitted onto this court of law other than to testify.
Yes, I fully understand. I'll only ask for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense.
Ha! You're too late, little girl. This trial has already been concluded.
5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more.
But, Your Excellency,
I'm most grateful. Three people behind the bench, sure, why not? Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, there's no time. Please, simply accept this for now. What is it? A report about something. Written in English. It's Giselle Brett's research. The Englishwoman's? After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical faculty and borrowed this paper. Oh yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself. No, of course not. Special characteristics of curare and its effect on human subjects. Interesting. Curare? What's that? Never even heard of that word before.
time's up. The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom.
There's too little time for me to read it all in detail, but I've summarised what I could onto this note just inside the cover. If you think it would be valuable, please cast your eye over it. This is wonderful, thank you. Goodbye then, and good luck.
You have had long enough, counsel. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. I ask the prosecution and the defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to this court? I presume not, but...
Of course, good old British Empire stretching across every continent. Is this a reference to Sherlock Holmes, The Sign of Four? Because of the blow dart thing in that. You know what, I'm looking that up as well. Quinine. And that's where Shitakumi came up with atraquinine from. Fourth game. Okay, sure. Okay, sure.
I presume not, but
The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency.
Yunosuke, we're out of options here.
This really is our very last chance. Yes, I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence.
That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett,
Yes, Your Excellency.
if you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer.
It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not so very long until tea time. I have to politely decline.
Forgive me, Miss Brett, it seems I wasn't clear. I realize it was phrased as a question, however, I must ask you to treat that as an order.
I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense.
My apologies, dear lady. So, Counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention?
Oh shit. Press R. R. R.
Yes!
Yes! Miss Giselle Brett, we understand that you are studying under Dr. Wilson at Umaya University, doing research. Research, by sheer coincidence perhaps, into a deadly poison. What?
Poison? Where are you going with this, Counsel?
A toxin known as curare, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death.
Objection!
Objection. What complete and utter nonsense? Curare, you say? I've never even heard of it.
He wouldn't have done.
What do you mean?
I mean that you wouldn't have heard of curare before for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist. Correct, which means no matter what tests the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify curare. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison.
What?
Order, order, order! Counsel, does this deadly poison truly exist?
According to this report, authored by the visiting research student from England, Curare has long been used in the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists.
To lace their arrows?
The report states that it's produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle, and it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by arrows laced with curare suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Objection! Trumpery! These aspersions are utter trumpery. To start with, if the victim had been administered some of this so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain. The other diners would surely have noticed.
That's true. What do you say to that, Inspector?
Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way round.
What do you mean, the other way round?
The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that curare was used.
Explain yourself, Counsel.
The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there'd be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible. Obviously, if a man lost all his strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair in him for support, as Dr. Wilson did have, the effects could go largely unnoticed. But I don't follow, Kazuma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. Full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, paralysis is so severe, it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail.
Respiration?
In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move.
That's hideous.
To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly curare poison.
And you're suggesting that this bottle, Counsel, actually contains this terrifying poison?
Objection! Objection! This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison for which there is no means of testing? What a happy tale for the defense. Ahem, if I may. All these facts. You think you're so clever, but you must realize— Shut up! It is you who must be taught. Of course. Dear lady. So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it?
What?
You steal another's honest, hard work and then announce the results as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. What a loathsome act.
Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual.
Whatever do you mean?
Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him from a heinous crime, that really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Objection! Objection! Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules.
What's so funny?
Oh, excuse me, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett.
May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please?
Yes, he's going to drink out of it because she put the poison in his glass.
I don't see, why not?
Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys.
Sorry.
To an English woman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games, these foolish courtroom antics, it's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Cheers!
Wait! What are you doing?
No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair.
Ah, come on. Just get to the glass bit.
Goodness, whatever is the matter? You all look quite stunned.
So, no curare. The bottle was clean, is that what you're saying?
You look quite incredulous, little boy, but of course, that's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venue. Most kind.
Ugh.
Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett.
I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries.
Yes, dear lady. We are most gratified with all the assistance you have given.
This doesn't make any sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle. So how? How did she? How did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? Word glass as a hint to the player. I don't understand it.
Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade, I guess, will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London.
There has to have been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Come on, Ryunosuke. We have all the clues now. That bottle of water contains no poison. As I thought, there is no poison in that bottle. What? Why, Ryunosuke? Isn't it obvious? If there was poison in there, she'd be dead by now. Sometimes your unadulterated naivete really astounds me. But sometimes it's in need of a good staining. Until it's as dark as your uniform in the ways of the world. Oh, is that what this colour is supposed to represent? What? Am I dumb? Oh, you don't drink it. Oh my god, so bad. You don't drink the poison, you have to... Oh, so that's where she burned him. Wait, what? This doesn't make any sense. There's more to this then. The only wound on his body was the burn, but the burn happened after he was poisoned. Maybe he was cut there, then put the poison and then burn it and cover the cut with the burn. That just doesn't make sense. And it's too complicated for this. I was so sure. I was so sure. It makes so much sense. Why would you put the poison in the fucking bottle rather than in his glass? No? I'm just... Come on, game. No? Is that not logical? This whole trial is poisoned. There has to be a... There has to have been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? There can't have been, because otherwise she would have killed over and died. The culprit did put curare poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. Fuck off. It said that bottle, right? That bottle of water contains poison. And yet here we're saying into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. So we're saying the glass. The defense refuses to change its position. You're serious?
Objection! Fool, are you blind? There is no possible way that bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw.
It's Brett drinking the water from it.
That's right. Which rather complicates your argument, I think.
And I believe that complication can be explained.
How exactly?
I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the court record somewhere. It has to be.
Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence.
Okay, so it's either the picture of the glass, so this picture, or it is what I just said. Let me read this very carefully. The above mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound.
Yes!
The answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report.
Objection!
Objection! That is not a valid explanation.
No?
After all, we don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. This impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency.
Not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. I'm just reading Susato-san's notes. Oh, page number. Or like section. We've been hearing a lot about this curare poison. And it's left me curious about something.
Oh, Counsel.
Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years, to lace the heads of arrows they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting.
So we've been led to believe, yes.
And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat.
Get to the point, please.
But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. That's a fantastic way to put it. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison.
Good gracious, Counsel. No, that would be madness.
But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. And the special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Oh, the fucking molar! The fucking molar, dude! Oh my god. There we go, there's the thing that I didn't think of. There's the surprise.
Through a wound, you say? I see that makes sense.
Yes, the mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When curare enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever.
What?
Miss Brett, you authorized this research. You knew Kirari's special characteristics. And you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself.
You meddling little rapscallion!
Well, Ryunosuke, as it turns out, you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be. Really? Me? A lawyer?
Objection!
Objection! All this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure, but I fail to see how it possibly— Shut up! So, the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with, some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly.
What are you trying to say?
Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw.
Schoolboyish? Flaw?
As even your brain has managed to deduce, curare is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric succus.
Oh, yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers? What are they?
So if this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he? Ah,
The molar.
that's right.
Good gracious.
That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no?
Order in court, order. The logic holds. If the lady and the professor both drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way.
Ah, are you trying to suggest?
Yes, this curare poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial. That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that.
When on cue, it starts raining outside. Bleh. Ominous thunder. What is this welling up inside me? I've never felt like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. More than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey.
Objection!
Objection. I don't think so, Miss Giselle Brett.
How dare you use that tone with me?
You know very well that there is no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why. Even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison, you are alive, and but Dr. Wilson is dead.
Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you, but you must provide compelling evidence, as we now know that this poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the curare?
Take that!
Take that! As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners.
A fatal difference?
Dun, dun, dun. The toxic effects of curare are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water?
Inside?
Yes, like the wound you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example.
Ah,
Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. You used that knowledge to orchestrate this. Is she laughing?
I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments. Your half-baked arguments are also puerile.
What do you mean?
Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough. You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it.
No.
I mean, it could just slip. Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed.
No! And now we use the fucking glass. We say, let's just break the fucking glass. And in the Supreme Court, what a terrible blunder. Let's read the text.
Collect up as much of the water from that broken bottle as possible, at once.
You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet here was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you, it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of mind to recover it.
How could you? You won't get away with this.
You can thump the bench and shout as much as you'd like, little boy. But I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in the bottle, or not.
You.
And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution? Oh, of course, of course. You're referring to this photographic print, I presume, dear lady. That's right. And really, looking at this photograph, it's as clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. So of course the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
Objection!
Objection! No, you killed the victim that day using curare. And then, in order to frame Ryunosuke Naruhodo for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun. Alright, and it comes back to where is the gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor and his chair around. You see, you had every opportunity to commit this crime.
What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say? And I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence. Exactly. And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, or Watson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Ugh. This is unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her, but now, is she really going to get away with it? The way she destroyed that evidence was obscene. Ryunosuke, yes? We've come this far, but now you're the only one who can finish it. What? What do you mean? We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. So if there are any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head. In my head? You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend on. Well, yes, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head. So think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every colour, every smell. What I saw, what I felt. Every colour. Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of that scene in my head, could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? Actually, Kazuma, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue. Aha! You always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Ryunosuke? Come on then, let's wipe that smug smile off that Englishwoman's face with some evidence. Alright, I can't wait. It's been niggling me for a while that something feels amiss in my memories of that day. Whatever it is could be the key to arriving at the truth about all this. It's here somewhere. The clue that shows who Dr. Wilson's real killer must have been is... How does that show that it was her? She has a wound under her mask, maybe. Take that! Inspector Hosonaga, answer me this. Yes, what is it? He's still miles away, probably thinking about that bottle being smashed. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of steak that you took to the victim's table that day.
Objection! Objection! Wait a minute. Where are you going with this? Shut up! Where are you going with this, little boy?
It's just a memory that's been troubling me.
What memory?
I saw the scene shown in this photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw it on the wooden base of the plate that the steak was served on. There was a spattering of blood.
What? Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor.
No, that can't be the case. Because of where it is. Okay, that makes sense. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him.
Ah!
Yes. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies that the plate was between the victim and the shooter. Which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor, as you were. Giselle Brett.
I beg your pardon!
Objection!
Objection! This is beyond ridiculous. Fabricated nonsense. Is the court seriously expected to just believe something the accused apparently just remembered seeing?
Hold it!
Hold it! Hold it!
This could be the moment that my entire career in the police force has been leading to.
Inspector, you mean?
Yes, I took the plate in the interests of preserving evidence from the crime scene. I took it, meat and all, and I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it.
You did what?
I took the steak that you had been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the sergeant had been eating. And I did it all in the name of justice.
Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on Miss Brett's plate. We got to prove that it. Wait. Oh no, can we test that it's the victim's blood? Because she might just argue that it's actually just the military guy's blood and it was his plate.
Inspector, the court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately. Yes, sir. Sorry for the delay. Here's what you ordered. The steak.
Well, what about the blood? Is there blood on it?
Of course there isn't.
Quickly, Inspector. The blood, man. Show the court.
Of course. Examine the plate at your leisure.
No blood. No blood anywhere. But no, that's impossible! I know I saw it. I'm sure of it. Compare the bite marks. That one had round bite marks. This one also has round bite marks. Swapped the wooden bits.
What an unbecoming expression, little boy. You see, this is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you. I couldn't agree more in the case of this disgrace to the Empire.
I believe we may finally have reached a conclusion in this trial.
Let's hope so. This let's pretend attempt at a courtroom proceedings is painful to watch. But I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over. This sorry-looking steak reveals all the facts too clearly. If the sorry-looking accused wishes to examine it again, be my guest.
Is the plate I saw, or thought I saw, just a figment of my imagination? Oh my fucking god. This proves that it's the other dude. Huh? What in the world is this? I think it's a Koban coin, and the hallmark is from the Hoei era. I believe. No, I don't mean, what is it? I mean, what's it doing there? Wait, did you say it was a Hoei Koban? Yes, and apart from the meat juices, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. This isn't the first time today that there's been talk of a Hoei Koban. I've heard it's pearls before swine, but I've never heard of bullion in bouillon. Oh, bouillon. Bouillon. I thought it was boeuf. This is a different language. I don't think you ever will again. This is extraordinary, though. This means... I can't find anything out of place. I certainly never expected to find a precious coin underneath this thick of meat. And it's from the Hawaii era too. That'll make it really quite valuable. It's well marinated in the juices as well, look. What, are you thinking of eating it? No, but the next time I order a steak in an expensive restaurant, one thing's for sure, my heart's going to be racing as I lift up the meat and peer underneath for a prize. I think you might have the wrong end of the stick about this, Ryunosuke. A Koban coin underneath the steak. There's only one logical explanation. This is it now. I've lost. Ryunosuke, it's not over yet. Not until the final gamble. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward no matter what. Believe in myself. Really? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself.
As the evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way, I presume any further examination of evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. Does the defense have any objection?
That bloodstain was going to clinch the trial for me. Can this plate of steak reveal any other clues at all? Your Excellency, please wait. This plate of beef is hiding another clue. Another clue that will reveal the shocking truth.
Objection! The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beefsteak. Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination at this trial.
I'm sorry, Miss Pratt, but we must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled.
I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, that's still your position, is it?
Thank you, Your Excellency. Oh, getting a phone call.
brilliant English weather while I'm here in England playing a game which is half set in England.
Counsel for the defense, you will now clearly show the court to what you are alluding. Where precisely on this plate of beef steak is this new clue to be found?
Da, 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 da. Can I not look up? Oh,
Got it!
got it!
No, counsel, I'm afraid that won't do. That was ambiguous at best. When you're asked to identify a detail like this, you must be...
What the fuck? Oh, fuck you. Huh? What the? What in the world is it? Oh, fucking hell. I've already read this dialogue, man. Did you say it was a high pan? Why is this not auto-playing it, dude?
Got it!
Got it!
Good gracious, that's...
A Koban? What on earth?
A Hawaii era one at that. It's Brett. This is in fact the beef steak that you ordered at the restaurant for the day in question, is it? Tell me. Why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat?
Shut up!
What a ridiculous question. How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't even know what this is, but I want no part of it.
Objection!
I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin under the meat? That could simply have been a careless mistake by the chef in a moment of distraction.
Objection!
Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe that this happened by accident in the kitchen. A rare Hawaii Koban just appears to be hidden underneath this piece of steak. This just turns out to be irrelevant to the case. I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now. He's right. It can't be a coincidence. Your Excellency.
Yes, counsel.
A rare Hawaii Koban just happens to be hidden underneath this piece of steak. If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll give up my lawyer job right now.
Objection! By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway.
Shut up!
Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it is you who is irrelevant.
No, I'm the one on trial here. Point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what's going on under that steak.
The owner?
Yes, it's obvious. There's only one person it can belong to. The owner of the Koban that was found under the beef steak is...
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be the antiques dealer and owner of Rasute, Curio Korekota-san.
Curie? As in Mr. Cucumber something? Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable.
Ah, yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant, correct?
Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened. At exactly the moment the gun was fired.
Gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor.
Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing?
Hunting for treasure. Indeed, the Hawaii era Koban, my prized coin.
Then this Hawaii era Koban, do you mean to tell me?
Objection!
Objection! No, please. Why would Korekoto-san's koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and its plate? It makes no sense.
Yes!
Yes! Which is why I'm asking to bring Korekoto-san back to the witness stand, so we can ask him.
Officer, bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here, without a moment's delay.
I can't believe we've come back round to that pair again. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch, that if we chase down the real significance of this koban, we'll find out it's a key element in the case. There's more. Oh, I thought that was going to be a to be continued then, and I was going to explode.
What's this all about? Why have I been called up again? Do you realise it's dinner time for little baby Ido? When my son's belly's empty, he's fiercer than a pack of wolves.
Exploited by the police we were, like miserable dogs, forced to bear false witness. And when cast from this courtroom, myself, I became a ruined man in a trice, a worthless whippet antique. Nothing more I have to say. The sun has set on this Rasute shop owner's existence.
Be that as it may, Korekoto-san, something has come to light which requires your clarification. As far as your Rasute memory serves.
Yes, that's it. The one, the very one. The very exact one, that is. The resplendent, splendiferous Hawaii treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day. It can't be.
As I thought.
Young man, enlighten this decrepit old fool. Put me out of my misery. Where is my treasure? Where was it dropped?
Not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched between a beef steak and its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat's juices.
This is sandwich. Seriously.
Clearly, it couldn't have fallen there by accident, which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose. Somebody could...
Somebody concealed my Hawaii treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate. Who would do such a thing? Such an unconscionable thing.
Excuse me, can I say something? Yes, of course.
Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga.
I mentioned this earlier on in the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case.
Ah, yes, that's right. Secret undercover operation.
La Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the Police Bureau.
Wicked crimes indeed.
We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being attracted. So that's why you were sent in undercover, is it? Yes, I took on the job of waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminal. It seems likely that this Koban incident is the work of the same thief.
Unbeknownst to us, there was a
master thief at work in the restaurant on a regular basis. The place was already the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid Korekata-san's Koban is all too clear.
What? What?
I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Tell us, who is the despicable scoundrel who stole Korekata-san's Koban and hid it under the stake?
Take that!
Take that! Obviously, it can only be you. Sergeant Iyesanosa! Well, how? How dare you? You monster! Monster? I stole that Koban, did I? I'm the master thief of La Carnival, am I? Seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet? But it wasn't me, it was Ido! Ido is the mastermind behind all this! You would push the blame for your crimes onto your own son, an innocent little baby? Is it you who's the monster, Sergeant Nosa? Clippity clop, clippity clop, clippity clop, clippity clop, clippity clop. Do any of you know of the extraordinarily low wages the Nippon Imperial Army pays those it expects to keep our country safe? I understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently ended conflicts remains in place. And I've heard it's hard for lower-ranking soldiers to make a living, yes. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son. That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant. The place is heaving with money. Every 3 days, I go there and do reconnaissance for a target. And I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak at the same time. It sounds like he doesn't bother with a knife and fork even, which is worryingly believable. And your target that day was the old man and his Koban. Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pocket without any trouble at all.
A veritable phantom thief you are.
I was all set to leave the steak. I was halfway through devouring when it happened. Yes, when the professor was shot. I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. Ido too. So I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could, on the double. I slipped it under the steak, hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date.
This is ridiculous. Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling in your own time.
Well, Miss Brett,
Oh, of course. Dear lady, of course. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. May the esteemed gentlewoman please be excused, Your Excellency.
Indeed. The theft of the Koban was clearly perpetuated by this baby-saddled sergeant. It would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder.
Of course it is. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat. The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me.
nonsense, is it?
Well,
Oof.
And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness.
Very well, now that all questions concerning this witness's testimony have been answered, I see no further justification for detaining her. Miss Brett, you are free to leave.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone. And good day.
Ryunosuke, what's the matter with you? This is no time for daydreaming. Oh, no, it's just... something about Miss Brett's parting words there got me thinking. Can't quite work out exactly. Something she said jarred with me. Yeah, because, okay, yeah, they were swapped. Come on, I feel like there was a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up. That's the case. Don't stand there thinking, make your voice heard. You can think later, but if you don't call up now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over.
Hold it!
Hold it! Wait, Miss Brett!
What is it now?
I'm afraid, just one last time, there's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like to ask you to explain the contradiction in your parting words just a few moments ago.
What are you talking about? What contradiction? Objection! What new student nonsense is this?
Well, what parting words are you talking about, Ryunosuke?
Hiding a coin underneath a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, beyond nonsense. It's pure madness.
Yes, I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction.
Going to need to see evidence, counsel. If Miss Brett's words are truly contradictory, where is the evidence to prove it?
This one.
Take that!
Take that!
A photographic print of the scene taken immediately after the incident occurred.
What's interesting is the plate of steak that you can see on the victim's table.
The steak that Miss Brett had been eating before the professor was killed, yes. Go on.
More accurately, Your Excellency, the steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed.
Now you're just splitting hairs.
Not true. Doesn't something about this steak strike you as very unnatural?
Unnatural? What on earth do you mean?
It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett.
Noticed what, counsel?
Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishman could ever contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork.
Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself.
And take a good look at this steak, in particular, the edge where it's been eaten. As you can see, there are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks there.
Ah.
Oh.
Oh!
It looks like Miss Brett has realised something. So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating without using a knife and fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all.
Objection! But what is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravenously hungry. Shut up! Oh, whatever you say, dear lady. As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer. Of course, this will be over in the blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place. Shut up! I've heard enough! You irritating, spectacled samurai relic! Oh, of course. Dear lady!
What's the matter, Miss Brett? Where have we ruffled your feathers? Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She's realised the catastrophic implications of these teeth marks in this steak have for her. Ryunosuke, do you know where you're going with this? Yes. Now at last, it's all come together. She swapped the steaks. Mysterious teeth marks in the steak that had been allegedly eaten with cutlery. And the missing blood stain, because we can't see the fucking line. Most importantly, the evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day.
I accept these teeth marks in the steak are a little unnatural, as you put it, Counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that tells us?
Everything, Your Excellency.
Everything?
Yes, I believe these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any reasonable doubt who shot Dr. Wilson.
Shut up! Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase, typical Japanese empty threats.
How can you be so sure?
Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court long ago.
Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet.
Hasn't been what?
But just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean all the evidence does not exist. Well, it doesn't mean the evidence does not exist.
Objection! This is absurd. This trial has run several hours already, and you say there's evidence yet to be brought forward? This there can't be. I don't believe you have it.
Objection!
Objection! I don't, but there is someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve every remaining mystery about this case.
Very well. I have a feeling this will be my last request of the defense in this trial. Who possesses this conclusive evidence? It's the dude who collects evidence for a hobby.
Take that! The answer is obvious. It's Inspector Hosonaga.
What? I have it.
Yes.
You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? That's ridiculous.
No, I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention has been focused on this steak with the teeth marks.
Yes.
Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told the court the following. I'd enjoy chomping my way through a good steak. And as well admitting to stealing Korekata-san's coin, he told us that he slipped it under the steak.
You watch it, Cadet. It's a superior something.
Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the steak that you put the coin under, in fact, your own steak?
Attention! Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but still. I am not brave enough to ask a foreigner, that gentle lady, if she'd mind me manhandling her meat or something in it.
In other words, the steak that the detective submitted as evidence earlier was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal.
Objection! But that makes no sense. That plate was taken from the victim's table.
Objection. Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor did she have any opportunity to steal the coin.
Of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire.
Well then, how do you explain this paradox?
Exactly. You're not going to suggest that the sergeant switched the two steaks over. You did switch the plates.
Well, after it happened, when I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my steak and hid the coin underneath it. But then when the waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, I thought I'd had it. If he decided to investigate my slab of meat, that'd be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. So when the cadet here was arrested and taken off to the kitchen, I seized my chance. With military precision and timing, I switched my steak with the one on the foreign lady's table.
What? You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing.
It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. It was do or die, I tell you. So yes, I did what had to be done.
Unbelievable.
However, fear not, Prosecutor-san.
What now?
I swear on the brass buttons of my uniform. That is all I did, sir.
All you did? That's plenty, Sergeant.
Yes!
Yes! So, if Sergeant Nosa switched the plates over, it means he took Miss Brett's steak and the plate it was on back to his own table.
Yes, that follows.
Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Earlier in this trial, you told the court this. You said that you'd not only taken Miss Brett's stake after the incident, but also the sergeant's. That to preserve evidence, you had taken both.
Ah.
That's correct. Then please present it to the court now. The plate that was actually on the victim's table, at the precise moment he was shot.
Shut up! What can that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat. It can't have the slightest bearing on the case.
Objection! No, you're not wriggling your way out of it this time, lady.
I beg your pardon.
Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why the steak pan promises to prove such a problem for you, no?
You're the ones who decided it was a problem, not me.
The reason the defense asked to see this plate was to confirm something the defendant remembers seeing.
Tss, thinks he remembers.
I'm quite sure of what I saw, Miss Brett. On the side that the plate was on the table directly behind Dr. Wilson, there was a clear spattering of blood from the gunshot wound to the victim's chest. I believe the defendant's memory serves him well. And now we have the evidence to prove it. The plate you were eating from, Miss Brett.
Let us not prolong this any further. Inspector, you will show the evidence to the court. Present the beefsteak and plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident.
Yes, sir. Sorry for keeping you. Here it is. Here is the other steak and its plate. Please, feel free to examine it.
Yes!
Now this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of this plate shows that at the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table with his back to me. In other words, it was impossible for Naruhodo-san to have shot the victim.
It can't be.
In fact, there's only one person who could possibly have shot Dr. Wilson from the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. That's right. Miss Giselle Brett. It's you! Why did she need to poison him then if she was going to shoot him anyway?
Outdone by a Japanese, me, by a Japanese schoolboy. No, no, no. Yeah! Ah!
No.
Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Most unbecoming behaviour for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me.
Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth this time.
Gladly, Your Excellency. It was I who took the Professor's life, using curare. As you surmised, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The Professor had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning.
So you planned to kill the Professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water. This curare is unheard of here in Japan.
Yes, of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor take one tiny sip of his water, and it would all be over. I'd place the steak I had ordered in front of him, make it appear as though he had been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table.
That would be me, I suppose. Oh, that's why she needed to shoot him.
Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter.
The fact that you decided to come over to greet the professor meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. What the hell? I'm using fucking Naruhodo verse.
In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that point, so I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment.
A plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man.
I happened to know that the professor always carried a gun. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of curare in my handbag, and my own pistol concealed under my skirt. Under your skirt?
So I was right. There were two guns.
Yes.
And then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor. Placed where you were sure I would notice it.
And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun as I intended. And then, just as you bent down to pick it up,
that's when you shot the professor with your own gun, even though at that point he was already dead.
naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared.
Obviously, I assumed Naruhodo-san was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry that adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside.
That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor and his chair around.
Because of course, you needed to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he picked up the gun. That was like the most advanced first case, let's be honest. That was really good.
So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Totally not a fucking felony.
Or what? Why is it Americanized? That's a bit weird. Oh wait, no, we use that word in Britain as well.
Your Excellency,
Yes?
I wonder, might I speak with you in private later?
I shall call on you.
Motive? Question mark?
Thank you. Good day then, everyone. I hope you can forgive me, Naruhodo-san.
It would seem this trial has finally run its course. I presume the prosecution is in agreement.
This can't be. Taketsuki Chiauchi does not lose. Not to the likes of this rookie student.
You'd better start getting used to tough opposition.
Ah! Ryusuke Naruhodo.
Yes?
This insult to the Ouchi family name will never be forgotten.
You've become conceited with age, Council. The old to have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. The amount of hair transformations that they go through is insane. 1,000 millennia may pass, and still the Ouchi clan will never measure up to the Naruhodo clan.
This trial in the Supreme Court of Japan will, I believe, go down in history as the start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system. Despite being summoned as the accused, you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, presented an excellent case.
I thank you, Your Excellency.
The use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern methodology. After all, it has only been a few short decades since our country opened its doors to the wider world. The Western's ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that science will soon bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice. A new future of law awaits, but what it will look like, I cannot begin to imagine. That is for the young to pursue. Kazuma Asogi.
Yes.
After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all you can, absorb everything of the wider world that you are able to. And do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you.
I understand, Your Excellency. What was that about? Why do you look so grave all of a sudden? Ah, never mind.
As for you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo,
Oh, yes?
in you I sense, how can I put it, unusual potential. I very much look forward to seeing how you carry that onwards.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
It's time to deliver the final verdict. I hereby find the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo,
Not guilty, using the classic sound. Yay!
This court is now adjourned.
What's the time? I think I'm going to end it there and start the next one at this point. I think. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Save. Alright. Thank you. Goodbye, people who are in the future, such as myself.